Like, it's almost the planet. What if other species consider our planet to be a moon? And we got a binary moon system. I don't know. I'm not an alien. I don't know these things.
Asteroid from all
I am an alien.
the planets and
I'm an alien to them.
solar system, and then we can actually trace the motion.
But am I an alien to
around
myself?
the solar system for hundreds of years.
Let's see. We've also got Voyage to Darwin 4. That one's going to be interesting. I forgot what this one's about, but Doke suggested this one to me. A theoretical mission? Okay. That sounds hilarious.
An interstellar spacecraft named Von Braun leaves Earth orbit for a planet some 6.5 light years away. Are we ready to confront the technical challenges of a mission that will take decades to complete? To find out, a team of top scientists, engineers, and artists create a virtual mission to Darwin 4.
I love this. Oh boy. Here we go!
The search for alien life has begun.
We think that other worlds, perhaps other Earths, if you will, exist. We know of hundreds of other planetary systems right now, and that may be the tip of the iceberg.
Hey, Jaylen.
Conceivable, really, that there would not be life. Is it intelligent? I don't know. That's a whole nother issue.
Within a few decades,
George!
unmanned probes equipped with
George!
artificial intelligence may find life on planets beyond our solar system.
2014.
That was a weird
That's
cut.
the
What the
magic year.
fuck?
That's the magic year where the terrestrial planet finder goes up into orbit.
Michio.
And its explicit mission is to find evidence of up to perhaps 500 Earth-like planets orbiting other star systems.
I'm excited.
There is no
They're the
reason not to
fucking.
think
They
that
did the.
on some of them,
This
somewhere,
is gonna be
we
weird.
would find multicellular organisms like ourselves.
Like, that was not enough time
The
to
life
take
we have
in
on Earth.
what was happening in front of us. And I have a feeling that these scientists didn't necessarily interview for this film, but they do a lot of interviews.
Must have spontaneously generated itself. It must therefore be possible for life to be generated spontaneously elsewhere in the universe.
We now take a simulated journey.
Oh, the guy who
scientifically
inspired
verified
Jurassic
by
Park?
leading experts to a
corner?
planet called Darwin 4.
Where's
The
the
life
baby
it
dinosaur?
supports
Oh,
tests
building
the
a
limits of
dinosaur from chicken.
technology
I've seen that TED
and the
Talk.
intellects of the greatest minds of our generation.
The answer is no.
Because here on Darwin, life is truly full of surprises.
Yeah, the cuts are fucked up. Yeah, rest in peace, Mr. Hawkins.
An interstellar spacecraft named Von Braun leaves Earth orbit for a planet some 6.5 light years away. Are we ready to confront the technical
Werner
challenges
von
of a
Braun?
mission that will take decades to complete? To find out, a team of top scientists,
yes.
engineers, and artists create a virtual mission
Oh.
to Darwin 4.
No, don't do that.
Fourth planet in a binary
Don't
system
name it after
called
Werner von
Darwin.
Braun. Are you fucking stupid?
It seemed utterly important to me.
Or,
that
like, that's a
foundation
fucking
to
problem.
create a world was to make sure that the world was acceptable to the science community.
I know this ship doesn't exist, but I want it to so it can crash. Werner von Braun. Are you fucking kidding me? After a Nazi? So he built the Saturn V. He did it to kill people. Stupid.
They're a team of scientists to have a look at that concept and to make sure that the laws of physics and chemistry were all represented in that model.
Today, we search for planets like Earth through telescopes. The Darwin
Yeah.
4 mission
Giga oops.
simulates the next giant
Okay, he's gonna
step,
have that
the
those
unmanned
emotes soon
quest
too. We just gotta
to
get up to
find
15
life
subscribers so I can
beyond
have
our solar system.
2 tier 1 and 2
The
tier
Von
2s.
Braun is roughly the size of a
Tutus.
nuclear attack submarine and travels at 37,000 miles per second, 20% the speed of light.
According to Einstein, there's an ultimate speed limit in the universe. Mother Nature is like a cop that says you cannot break the light barrier.
What?
Now, the nearest star is 4 light years away.
Emotes.
And Darwin, traveling at 20% the speed of light, will take 42 years to make that journey.
The metal composite nose shield that protects the ship is cratered by collisions.
If we could
with
only-
space
if we-
debris
if only we could go as
accumulated
fast as
during the
freaking light.
42-year journey to Darwin 4.
What a shame.
The planet
Legit,
orbits
just
the
gotta
largest
polish 'em.
sun
Yeah.
of the binary solar system in a
Almost
zone
done.
just close enough to its own star for comfort. A sweet spot astronomers call the Goldilocks zone.
Not too close and not too far away, but just at the right
We also
distance
call
that the
her
planet can
Goldilocks.
support liquid water on its surface.
Oh no! No, no,
The
no,
Von
no,
Braun's
no!
first
This has
priority
gone
is to
horribly
call home.
wrong! Oh, wait. Yeah, okay.
A digital message will be sent through a laser beam, but the limits of time and space impose a
Yeah, dude. We're just gonna vector in one direction as we're spinning end over end through space, and we're gonna stabilize, fam.
roaming charge for long distance.
The Werner von Braun. Fuck! It's so bad.
Even at the speed of light, von Braun's transmissions to Earth take 6.5 years, making it impractical for engineers to correct problems.
I'm gonna have a conniption fit every time he
So
says
von
that.
Braun and its probes will have to think on their own.
Yeah, the Einstein. The first thing to go to another
The first
planetary
phase of the
system.
mission is to deploy the Darwin Reconnaissance Orbiter, or DRO.
Oh, the Von
It's going to spend
Braun
months monitoring.
hasn't Werner von Braun's name carried enough weight? I think that his contributions they've done all their work, and now we can just be like, he's a Nazi that invented a rocket and we used it. You know what I mean? Who made this and was like, we should call it the Von Braun? It's like they're brand new to like naming things. They're like, I don't know, it goes into space, right? Yeah. Rockets, that's how we get there. Yes. Who made those? Werner von Braun? Yeah. And then they make the thing, and then after all the editing is done, they're like, shit, that guy was a Nazi too. Or, well, you know what? In 2012, I think maybe von Braun's name was still like enough to impress a little bit. But like, really, it's just his smarts. We shouldn't go naming shit after him still. No. I disagree. Very 2005. You maybe stop having Nazis discover things. You should have them discover the underside of my boot.
Monitoring weather, looking for geology, looking for signs of life.
It's going to map the entire planet, and it's going to rotate around the planet, and it's going to give us some detail on the topography.
We learned a little bit about the planet via the space-based telescopes that were around our own Earth, but now that we're actually there, we're going to look down and confirm that our guesses were correct.
So that when we put these probes down, which can only explore a small fraction of the planet, we get the most out of it.
Images surge through the DRO's camera lens. Infrared, radar, and visible light pictures reveal an equatorial mountain range and vast plains swirling with weather systems. Darwin 4 has no oceans, just a small blue sea. Von Braun's computers sift through thousands of destinations before selecting the one landing site with the most to offer. the Von Braun launches a probe about the size of a dump truck named Balboa, after the famous explorer.
A dummy thick spacecraft found.
Balboa enters Darwin's airspace as our
Comes
first
out of there like a
ambassador
dump
to
truck.
a pristine alien planet. The first contact between Earth and Darwin literally falls to pieces. But the planners of the Darwin mission have prepared for just such a scenario. The Von Braun vehicle carries 2 additional probes.
I need a sensor button so I can be like, beep,
Probe
every time they're like
Leonardo
Von
da Vinci
Braun.
is nicknamed Leo.
Big booty crab. Plain ass is still ass. That shit needs to be Von
Leo's followed
gone,
by a twin
okay?
probe, the Isaac Newton, aka Ike.
What you call it? Hike? Hike?
The probes enter the atmosphere just like the space shuttles do on Earth. The final
Like
approach
this.
is a lazy S pattern to burn off excess speed before landing.
Yo, we're going way too fast in this fucking butt plug, man. What? Is it really gonna land like that?
On the
No.
surface, 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's not gonna take off again, right? You doubting her girth? Yeah, man. Is that a goose?
Leo is first to land and emerge from his vehicle.
No, 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 no. Is that the front of its face? Ah! This is awful. And what is that next to it? Prepare to get attached to it? I have to develop feelings for this thing? Are you fucking kidding me? No.
Leo's bird-like head is crammed with sensors. Driven by protocols embedded in his software, Leo confirms that Ike's landing is on track and sends a status report to the Von Braun.
Can't the landing vehicle determine its own track? Why does it need a creepy robot on the ground to determine that for it? Why? Ah! That's not gonna happen. And it's not gonna have an interface like that.
The news that Leo and Ike have landed is beamed to Earth. Perhaps it's fitting that scientists who were babies when the Von Braun left Earth now announce the birth of interstellar space travel.
Watching these probes from back on Earth would be much like sitting in the back of an auditorium.
I know it's part of a
watching your
probe,
child.
but like, why does it need a probe to confirm its path for a ship that's in atmosphere? Or outside of the atmosphere? Like, it can just point a radar at it and be like, all right, there it is. Like, you don't need a little robot to get up and like stick its weird little fucking head out and like, oh, there it is, it's working. I'm just saying, even if it's just to get the probe there, it's like an unnecessary step.
Today, spelling bee, where you know the answer and you're sitting there hoping that they're going to make the right decision and come forth with the right answer, but also
Like, scientists made this, right?
knowing that you can't do a thing to help them at this moment.
Darwin 4 has a denser atmosphere than the Earth's, and the probes would have been designed to cope with that. Now, we would have known that the atmosphere was in fact denser before we got there. The way we would have known that is by looking at the spectrum of this planet and looking at the signature from oxygen in the planet. That oxygen signature would have been so
unnecessary.
broad, we would
It's
have known
inefficient.
there was much more oxygen there in that atmosphere than we have on Earth.
Well, today, our awareness of the universe has expanded, exponentially, really. We've gotten smart. We've learned, we've done our homework. The first wave of space telescopes showed us one thing. Earth-based telescopes showed us another. Physics, computers, mathematics has come together in a beautiful confluence that has allowed us to recognize what before was unmeasurable.
Next, the probe called Da Vinci explores a puddle and discovers a micro-universe. But life forms on Darwin come in many sizes, and some of them are lethal.
At least that cut was
On
longer.
Darwin 4, probes Da Vinci and Newton are backed up by a menagerie of mini-probes. Within minutes, their sensors detect a mysterious presence.
Yeah.
Recently, some astronomers have said, bah, humbug. The conditions for life are extremely rare. For example, you need a large moon to
Bah! Humbug! Thank you.
stabilize the orbit of the Earth, or else the Earth tumbles in its orbit. You need a large Jupiter to clean out the comets and meteors of the solar system.
Yo,
You
y'all
have to
need
have
some
so many
Jupiter. What the
Goldilocks zones.
fuck?
The Earth has to be just right for this.
Is
just
there
right
no
for that,
Jupiters
that
out here?
Perhaps we are alone. Well, I don't think so. Because
What?
if you look at the number of stars in the
Alright, what was that,
heavens,
Michio?
perhaps 10 billion trillion stars that are within the range of our telescopes. And you realize that half of them, perhaps half of them, have solar systems around them. And if you play the odds, you come up with the realization that perhaps there are billions of planets in our universe that have conditions that are compatible with life as we know it.
Totally. I'm sure there's plenty.
Leo's first assignment is to recon a region studded by tall, mysterious gourd-like structures.
Oh my gourd!
Before he can take
This
them
one's
on,
nostalgic
he's
for
got
you,
to
huh?
get himself together.
Ah! It's nostalgic for you. It's unsettling
Darwin
for
4's
me.
atmosphere is drenched in water vapor, a free source of hydrogen, which Leo converts to inflate a large bag on his back. It's covered with photosynthetic solar panels. The array turns a green hue as an algae-like material within the cells generates energy from Darwin 4's two suns. Leo's bird-like head contains two sensitive
Stop
camera
describing
arms.
its head!
His arms are simulated plastic muscle, tipped with sensors and a manipulator that can pluck a petal off an alien daisy.
Why would he look at them like he needs to fucking self-actualize? I mean, I know it's just a dramatization, but come on! This is science! It's just as cool for it to just, like, whip out... You pass butter. It would be just as cool for it to just whip out its arms and go about its business. You pluck alien petals?
Thrusters on pivots
Oh my
pushing
god!
along at a top speed of 30 miles an hour. Leo senses movement in his side-scanning radar.
It's for effect. I know. But still.
But he can't investigate the source.
You should have just made a movie.
His artificial intelligence isn't programmed for
He's playing
it at
hide
this
and
point.
seek with the other ship. He's like, oh, you can't see me.
Leo's first priority is finding his yellow-tailed brother. While physically identical, Ike and Leo were created with complementary personalities.
Hey, Ike
is safety conscious.
Leo
is
You
inquisitive.
just inhaled
and
your
programmed to take
bags.
risks.
Yeah, man. Just flated them up. Yeah, man. Feels good to flate up.
Their artificial IQs are roughly those of 4-year-old children. Their missions can be redirected by the von Braun's supercomputers at any time.
We're just leaving 2 4-year-olds alone on a foreign world?
Assisting them on mini probes.
That one's
like
probably
this
even
spider.
younger. Can't believe this. Can't believe this.
It's designed to explore places too tight or dangerous for Leo and Ike.
No, Leo, Ike.
The data they collect is transmitted to the von Braun for analysis.
Yeah, NASA CPS.
Camera discs serve as high-speed scouts.
Excuse me, FBI.
The saucers can be retrieved and recharged. Radical changes in Darwin 4's weather could tear the probes to shreds. So, Ike and Leo deploy an early warning system. Small weather balloons monitor the atmosphere. It's now time for the last diagnostic check. Should Ike or Leo confront intelligent life, they'll present a calling card in the form of a hologram.
I love the idea that these
Number
highly
comprehension,
engineered
images
machines
of our galaxy, solar
are
system, the Earth, and the human species
are just spending time sitting around looking at each other, just like showing each other graphics of their mission that they're already on and programmed to do and have no need to have background knowledge of. They're like, hey, have you seen this? And they're like, what? No. Is that why we're here? And he's like, yeah, I'm Leo. The other one's like, I'm Donatello. I don't know.
interstellar handshake.
I forgot the name of the other one.
Leo has sensed something.
Leo's the one I have feelings for. Leo is the one I remember. The running diagnostics.
Von Braun determines that Leo and Ike are fully prepared to explore the bizarre structures that surround them.
Yup, we're ready to go.
Scientists will name them gourd trees. 15 stories
Creative.
high, they stand on a matrix of root-like stilts. Von Braun's computers
Leo
determined
blue,
the
Ike
stilts
yellow.
could only support
Okay.
such a huge mass.
Leo
if
and the
gourds
less
were
cool
hollow
one.
or filled with some type of spongy material. But Leo and Ike are not programmed to immediately study objects like the gourd trees.
They're programmed to study each other.
Some astrobiologists predict the only alien life forms we may stumble upon are microorganisms, and the probes are designed to study.
So you've got Leo, Ike, and Mike organisms.
Them.
POV shot.
Leo is programmed to search for them in the first
Ike and
puddle of water
microorganisms.
he finds. A microcosmos of single and multiple cell life forms fill his sensors. But Leo is about to discover that life on Darwin 4 comes in many sizes and many faces.
Ah! How did I miss that? Leo, 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 back,
This life form is roughly the
or
size
up, go
of
up.
a T-Rex.
It can get you if you go
But
back.
instead of
It
a
can't
roar,
get you up.
It directs a single wave of
When you
sonar
get
at
closer,
Leo and
you
Ike.
have tools. Yo.
Darwin 4 has dealt the mission a wild card.
Do
The
not
probes are in
trust
the middle of
4-year-olds around
extraterrestrial
alien life
Serengeti,
forms, okay? It
and
is
it's a
not
whole
safe.
new game.
The discovery that Darwin 4 is not just a planet capable of sustaining life or had life at a simple level on it, in fact had an entire complex interactive multicellular biosphere comparable to what we see on Earth, is one of the greatest discoveries, the greatest discovery in the history of mankind.
We can almost be certain that life that we find on another planet will have evolved along lines differently from the life on Earth.
The arrow tongue is a remarkable large predator. As far as we can tell, in terms of the land-living predators on Darwin 4, it's the largest one we got a record of.
So when we look at Darwin 4 and look at an organism like an arrow tongue, and then we look at Earth and an organism like a tyrannosaurus.
Okay, when you were growing up and you were watching this, and these guys were talking like they had done all this shit, like, were you like, oh, they're real? Well, did you grow up speaking Spanish? Did you say, oh, they're real in Spanish? Yeah, people in general thought this was real? Wow.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. We've got two.
They did not listen to the introduction where they were like, this is all a computer graphic generated
and we end up with
show.
These two organisms
Enjoy.
That in some ways are very,
and they were like, what? It's real?
And in other ways are extremely
No!
We really need to examine the entire food chain on this planet, from the very smallest animals up to the largest, to get a sense of what does Earth and Darwin 4 have in common.
I mean, it's still pretty good CG, if I'm being honest.
About Darwin 4, we would know some very broad things, but we wouldn't know if the surface was covered with water. We wouldn't know if the surface was very marshy or very strange. And if you send a probe that can just fly over everything and fly very slowly, which a lighter-than-air probe can do, then you can cover all the bases pretty well.
The intelligence of Ike and Leo is very much like a small child. Intellectually, the child might know to do certain things and not to do others, but in some cases...
Oh yeah, Doke, I've seen a lot of your illustrations with that kind of neck.
Know necessarily not to touch the burner of a stove, and Ike and Leo may not be aware of all the possible threats in its environment and would have to learn from those.
Next, Leo and Ike enter the kill zone of a power predator on Darwin 4. An alien hunter that pegs its prey with sonar.
It pegs them?
A high-speed chase begins on Darwin 4, an alien planet where life and death turn on a dime. And as night falls, alien life forms create a bioluminescent light show.
If we realize that there's other life at a higher order of multicellular organization, of even, adaptation to environment, I think that would rock profoundly our boat. And in one sense,
profoundly our boat, it would rock.
It may
I
actually
agree.
lead to a greater realization that we have to do more exploring, because our own little backyard is not as isolated and protected as we think it is. And I think it will lead to amazing opportunities by learning about that.
Pegged by an arrow tongue,
we
too.
recognize our own limits, our own possibilities.
No, thank you. Back off!
Its eyesight
Heck
may
off!
be less evolved than large life on Earth.
Heck off, you balloon douche!
So using sonar could be a more accurate
Friggin'
means
jerk.
of locating objects around it, like Leo and Ike. Splotches of bioluminescence cover the
Look at
creature's
my
back.
ass.
Astrobiologists
look at my ass.
could call this creature
Stupid.
the arrow tongue.
Ooh, take that, bitch. Whoa, yeah, got him. Leo is getting lucky
The
a
arrow
lot.
tongue determines the probes pose no threat and turns its attentions elsewhere.
Leo is getting lucky a lot.
The gyro sprinter is a two-legged vegetarian about twice the size of an African antelope. Arrow tongue reveals itself as an ambush predator, capable of great bursts of speed. As predator and prey hit speeds of 40 miles per hour, the probes are left in the dust. Ike launches a camera disc to follow the action.
I'm also a two-legged vegetarian, twice the size of an African antelope.
The arrow tongue commands the road like a semi-truck, but the gyro sprinter corners on a dime. Night falls on Darwin 4. Scattered bands of bioluminescence rake the surface like some kind of alien landscape lighting.
Doke said goals
Possibly
TBH.
it's a form of communication on Darwin 4.
I just made Jay do a spit take.
But Ike and Leo ignore the light show and push on towards their prime objective.
I also want to be a two-legged vegetarian, twice the size of an African antelope.
Balboa, the lost probe, to confirm its fate.
Alien world.
The Darwin mission now depends on just 2 intrepid probes with the intelligence of preschoolers. Images of the Balboa and of large life forms taken by Ike and Leo are evaluated by the von Braun.
Two-legged
Its
vegetarian, twice the
supercomputers
size
now
of
make
an
important
African
adjustments in the programming of the 2 probes.
I got 2
The probes are directed to split up. Leo will hunt for Darwin's larger creatures.
Do we literally
while
just
Ike
have 2 as a
explores ecosystems
contingency?
and life forms that resemble plants.
Oh, so yes.
As Leo's quest begins, he flies
They
over
got the
a
red, yellow,
geothermal
and the
vent.
blue. They just need the what's
Here,
the 4th
he'll
turtle?
top off his gas bag with some hydrogen from the mist.
Orange, yeah. I was
If
gonna
you
say
enjoy
orange,
the
but I
pit
didn't want to
stop,
be wrong.
A good probe keeps exploring.
Turns out I would have been right. Missed
Life on
opportunity.
Darwin 4 never stops either. In the midst of
I
this
don't think-
volcanic cauldron, Leo finds
I don't think that's
microorganisms that
footage from the
resemble some
same
found
thing,
in hot
man.
springs on Earth.
Yeah, you gotta be confident. You gotta float right up to those arrow tongues, man. Look them in the eye and investigate them with your bird-like neck.
As Leo looks for
Is the
big
Darwin
game,
system at least real? Is this
his
based
twin
on an
probe,
existing
Ike,
star system, or
explores a small, isolated forest.
is the whole thing fabricated? Yeah, no Team Valor, no luck. Moltres ass boys.
The floor is covered with stickball plants. Part sponge, part virus.
On the Glee star system? Okay. Just inspired.
Giant molds called Darwin tomatoes rise from the dense soil.
Glaze!
Then Ike's sensors suddenly direct him skyward.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to look at those either. Are there gonna be friends? No, that's dangerous!
Called
Ike.
trunk suckers, they cling
It's
to these
spiky
bark trees,
Ike.
sucking nourishment from the nutrient-rich
Ike, no
layers
spike.
just beneath the tough outer shingles.
It's spiny, dude. You shouldn't be over there. What if there's wind? That was funny. It literally
It's here that the mission
just
reaches another
smacked into
milestone.
the tree.
After seeing life everywhere, Ike gets his first glimpse of death on Darwin 4.
Oh, they're huge? I didn't realize they were
But
huge.
death from what?
Ike, don't get Spike. I'm calling the little spider robot Mike.
Interesting organism. It has
The little spider robot is Mike now, so that they can officially be Mike and Ike, and they're a family. They're a box of treats.
a lot of similarities to some of our dinosaurs.
Doesn't have the maneuverability of some of its prey items. A formidable high-speed
Buses.
predator.
It's an ambush
Okay.
predator. Appears to sneak
So they're
up
the
on
size
its-
of the
on
space
its prey
the
and
Hubble
then
Space
take them down
Telescope, just
quickly.
floating
A very
around
high-efficiency predator.
like
Very
tiny
highly
little
evolved, very
dirigibles.
interesting animal.
Gyrosprinter is a very improbable animal when we look at animals on Earth. This is an animal that needed
The
to
film
get
you
away
were
from
watching last
predators,
night,
was running
Monos.
in a loping manner, beat things out 100 million years earlier. Its predator got faster, it got faster, until it developed this amazing
Hey, okay,
sense
thanks
of
for following
balance,
Jalen.
the large feet for gripping and handling on the turf.
Looking at the shoulder girdle and the hip girdle, it appears that this animal may have evolved from a four-legged animal. It appears we have a fusion here of the forelimbs, a fusion of the hind limbs.
Truly extraordinary, something we would never predict from life on Earth.
One of the things about the plants on Darwin 4 is that superficially they seem kind of bizarre.
Okay. So we're talking about life on other planets, and I'm not a xenobiologist. I'm not an expert on evolution. And I know that evolution doesn't necessarily progress on a straight path. There are creatures out there that have they've evolved and devolved brains. So they're I don't remember what species it was, but they've at one point they didn't have a brain, then they did, then they didn't again. Over the course of a very, very long time. But I don't think that being a land-dwelling creature, you would unevolve having 4 legs to choose to be a leg motorcycle instead. Because to an extent, not to an extent, like entirely, evolution relies on physics. And the physics of being a two-legged animal motorcycle are, as opposed to a four-legged animal motorcycle, or maybe even an animal tricycle, is you don't fucking, you fall over a lot more. Gravity is heavier on Darwin 4, so you want to have less legs. You want to be 2 legs. Like, that's not even being 2-legged, that's being 2 legs at that point. It's almost 1 leg with 2 ends, if we're being honest. It just has a head in the middle.
And yet, when we look at plants on Earth, we find that there's a lot of really bizarre plants on Earth, too. It's just that they're not common. One of the things that we might ask about a plaque-bark tree is, first of all, is it transporting nutrients and water? And we're guessing that it is, but we might also ask, where does it transport them? And we didn't tell the probes to go checking, but we can learn about.
Wait a second.
Ask, where does it transport them? And we didn't.
Where do they
nutrients
come
and water,
from?
And we're guessing that it is, but we might also ask, where does it transport them? And we didn't tell the probes to go checking. But we can learn about this from looking at the behaviors of the trunk suckers.
They're very similar to some sorts of birds, woodpeckers that we have here on Earth. They fly, they land on the trunk of the tree, they prop
come from
themselves
the
up
air.
with their tail, and they're taking fluid from the tree. This tells us some things about the trunk suckers, where they're getting their energy, but also is informative about the plants and what they're doing. So the trunk suckers are informative about both plants and animals.
Next, a herd of phantoms stampede across Darwin 4, and Leo attempts contact with a grouchy alien. On an alien planet, Ike has discovered forest creatures dead.
We're trying to
from unknown
communicate
causes.
with this thing using a
Meanwhile, a sonic
screen
ping ends a conversation, and
on this
Leo
planet
goes
that doesn't even
offline
seem to
on
have
Darwin 4.
foliage.
If you look at the diversity of what species look like on this planet, nature has come up with better things than our best
No
science
flora.
fiction
Only
artists
animal.
and people try to conceive what a foreign species
It's
would look
fauna
like.
only.
Some of these things that come out of the deep ocean just are absolutely amazing creatures. Just the diversity from the same
Nada de flora
starting
solo
materials
animal.
of DNA and genes by mixing and matching
That's all
these,
you get.
almost any physical appearance is possible.
For the past 3 days, The Darwin reconnaissance orbiters tracked a large object moving rapidly across the surface. Leo has been ordered to investigate what mission scientists
large
call
object
an
opener?
object of interest.
If I see a tree, I'm gonna shit myself.
As it turns out, the object of interest is not an object at all. It's a bunch of them.
I did? Oh, there's the plane.
Leo locks onto a herd of creatures called unts.
It didn't even register for a second there that they were trees. Like, there's just so many of these barren, desolate shots. And yet I'm supposed to believe that these planets have the genetic diversity to have these large creatures?
The closer Leo gets to the herd, the more his attention turns from motion to sound.
It doesn't count.
Unts have nostrils and lungs, but they
And
also
they
inflate secondary air sacs on both sides of their bodies. Unts are named after the sound they make when they exhale through their dorsal vents.
Like Pokemon. Leo? Leo. Don't get too close to them.
Like buffaloes on Earth, the unts are competitive, possibly fighting for domination of the herd.
Yeah, why don't we just call them honkers? Or why don't we name them after something else fucking stupid? Like Horkers. Let's just take it straight from Skyrim. They're Horkers now. They even look kind of similar.
Leo senses
Unt is a
movement nearby,
hornier
but
bro.
can't get a fix. His sensors are simultaneously scanning.
You're being a real unt right now, okay?
The newest input.
I can't handle these unts.
Leo's microphones.
Hey.
A pair of bladder horns compete. Bioluminescent antlers are displayed to scare off opponents.
Should have the crabs. I wish Squid was here. Someone clip that and send it to Antipodium Squid.
The racket from this jewel might have spooked the unts.
Wait, these are unts? I thought the Horkers were unts. Aren't the Horkers unts? What?
Leo interprets the back and forth bellowing as a form of communication. Perhaps this alien grump is smarter than it looks. Leo deploys the Earth communication screen. Like a greeting card, it's the best hello we can offer.
Hey, do you know how to read? You can read, right? English? English.
But if the bladderhorn is saying anything,
fucking aliens, I
it's
swear to
probably
God.
telling Leo to get lost.
You can't say that, Leo! Ah!
The bladderhorn cuts and runs as Leo's sensors detect another disturbance.
That alien was like, ah! I'm Amish!
For the next 24 hours, the Von Braun makes several attempts to communicate with Leo, but gets no reply.
Yep.
A grim dispatch
No
flies
cap.
a laser beam to Earth.
They took
Probe
Leo
Da
the
Vinci
fuck out.
has gone offline. Cause unknown.
Ike and Leo's programming would be different so that they would respond differently. You have a chance of one of them responding in a situation that may not be the best response to that situation, may put the probe in danger. By having the two probes carry separate software, you have a chance to have one survive where another one might fail.
And we'll have
The
one
oats
developed by
are
Apple and
interesting
one
in that
developed by
they
Samsung.
Occur in herds or groups.
This will be the ultimate
this
test.
is one of the Darwin 4 animals that we see where there is the evolution of sociality, social groups, which is also very important and evolved evidently many times on Earth.
These animals are interacting with each
Yeah,
other
the Apple one
in
got
a number
that's
of
right.
sophisticated ways. Probably both to establish pecking order within the herd, and even though we're not sure what's a female and what's a male in the oonths at this point, certainly the kind of interactions we're seeing with these animals are very similar to males fighting for females that we see on Earth among herding animals.
These guys are LARPing
Darwin
as
is a
people who
very
have been to a
interesting
different
animal for
planet.
a variety of reasons. One thing that's a bit unexpected is that the bladderhorn is the only animal we've seen so far that in fact appears to use sound as a major means of communication.
It's taking some of the features we would expect to see, that is, display features that would be used in competition. We see these animals interacting front to front. Probably these horns with the bladders are fundamental in the way they interact with each other.
Next, Ike confronts a forest vampire, and a living earthquake rocks the surface of Darwin 4.
Next time on Darwin
Alien
4.
Planet, a forest encounter is a near disaster for Ike.
When we do make contact with an intelligent life form, they may be descended from predators. Take a look at our animal kingdom. We have foxes, lions, and tigers with stereo eyes to the front. And then we have rabbits and deers with eyes to the side.
All kinds of
That's
experts.
because the predators have to zero in on
Just
the
like
prey.
the
They
just like the
have
guy
cunning.
who wrote the
They have stealth. They know
Egyptology
how
and
to
Dragonology
ambush.
books.
Well,
You
if you're
remember?
a rabbit, all you have to do is know how to run.
You
So
get
which is
those
more
at
intelligent,
the
fox
book
or the
book
rabbit?
fair.
Well, obviously,
Scholastic
the
Book
fox
Fair.
is more intelligent than the rabbit.
Scholastic brand.
So chances are, when we meet
Books.
intelligent life forms in outer
Scholastic
space,
Publishing
they're going to be descended from predators.
Fair of books.
Unless he resumes
Are you-
transmitting again, Leo is virtually an invisible dot on a vast alien
Kai.
landscape.
Welcome, welcome.
Leo's twin
How's
probe,
everybody
Ike, soldiers on.
doing?
He finds another pocket forest, the living remains of woodlands that thrived until Darwin's oceans evaporated and the climate changed.
What is happening? Is there just a... That's weird. It's playing right now. Okay, it's about to continue. Right now. What the fuck? Yeah.
The dagger wrist's
It did make a lot of people think
so deep,
dragons were real because they gave so
nutrient-rich
much
sap
in-depth
leads to
information
the
on
surface.
it. Yeah, that's you, man. That does look like what is it? Your Instagram profile picture kind of looks like that guy. Yeah.
Ike's not programmed to approach
I thought I
something
recognized
this
it too,
aggressive.
man. I was like, yeah.
That was Leo's
cool.
job.
The tree vampire, man. Concept art.
The study of plant life is Ike's mission, until von Braun orders otherwise. Finding water is statistically the most efficient method of finding vegetation. Ike scans a carpet of moss at the edge of a deep water marsh. But what lies beyond it is even more intriguing. Ike surveys 3 odd mounds covered with saplings. But appearances are deceiving on Darwin 4.
Dude, that's a... These guys play too much Magic the Gathering, dude. I tell you what. Look at that. It ain't got no face. They sell a book with all the art? Oh, cool. Is it named Darwin 4? Is that what it's called? The Creatures of Darwin 4 cool. Yeah, that'd be cool to check out.
Rising 5 stories into the air is a massive paradox. The Groveback. Grovebacks bury themselves alive for long periods of time.
Oh, that's the one I was just looking at.
They're not hibernating. They're feeding. Grovebacks absorb nutrients from the soil through the skin of their underbodies. When the ground's depleted, they move on.
So we've met your unts, now we have your ents.
In search of new feeding areas. Groves of trees sprout from these immense creatures. The Groveback provides them water from its spongy tissue. The trees inject sugars
Okay, did
into
you
the
not say that the
Groveback.
gravity is higher on this planet?
Just enough juice to jumpstart these titanic walkabouts on Darwin 4.
Okay. Okay. So the gravity is higher on this planet, but there's creatures walking around with forests growing on their back, larger than a drone the size of a bus. I'm not trying to tear apart your childhood, man. So if higher gravity means denser muscles? I don't know if it does. Because whenever you have higher gravity, having denser muscle tissue would actually leave you more prone to tearing. So I don't think that higher gravity has anything to do with it necessarily. No? Okay. But they're so heavy. I don't know. Okay, I mean, I get that it's a foreign planet, but like, yeah, on Mars we're lighter, but the gravity's lower there. We said the gravity's stronger. Mars is like a lot smaller than Earth. I mean, if it's not smaller, it's at least got lower gravity.
A burst of data kicks von Braun's computers into hyperdrive.
Yeah, okay.
Ike's brother Leo has come back online.
Oh well, see, that's the thing though. We'd be shorter. We wouldn't be enormous, right? We would just be incredibly beefy, like an elephant version of humans now, with like twice the limb mass and trunk strength, neck strength, like a much stronger circulatory system, a bigger heart, maybe 2 hearts, maybe not 2 hearts. I need to look into organisms with multiple hearts. Yeah. Oh no,
If Ike or
Leo!
were to come back after having gone offline, the first thing you'd want to know is why. They'd need to send you some information. What caused the reboot? Anything they could tell you.
I mean, if that's a Darwin turtle, a Darwin elephant must be bigger than that, unless that is the Darwin elephant.
What was going on when the problem
and it's
occurred,
the biggest they got.
And then their response to it, so that you could start trying to figure out what had happened.
The Groveback is the most massive animal that we have a record of on Darwin 4. His tremendous size supports my own theory that I've put together.
Big
on these
ass,
animals,
you'll
and I
see.
think shared by
Great.
some other scientists. They have a much lower body density. The size of a Groveback far exceeds the mass of any of our dinosaurs that we have records of living on Earth.
My first impression on the daguerreost is that this is a very large praying mantis. It has a limb configuration that is reminiscent of the forelimbs of a praying mantis, although the daguerreost uses them to climb trees, which was very interesting. Moving by
That
gliding
makes
is
sense
very
if there's
interesting. This
lower
is where the
gravity.
large animals, the
That makes
membranes
perfect sense.
involved in producing the lift for the gliding appear rather small. We have to remember that the
Especially if
gravity
you can
in
have
Darwin
such
4
large
is less
gliding
than
animals,
Earth.
four-legged
And
things
we
that
also
can
have to
jump
remember
through
we're
the
gliding
air
through a
and
thicker
like,
atmosphere, so
yeah.
the dynamics are going to be different.
People ask me all the time, why should
Yeah,
we
okay.
care about
Everything clicks.
discovering new things?
I can handle it now.
If it isn't applicable to us, if it doesn't put food on the table or gas in the car.
We're like the smallest animals are the size of us and shit. I don't know. Gravity, lower gravity, that makes a lot of sense.
If you're not curious enough to want to know the answer to anything you can know, anything we can discover, then
dice.
You're not human.
I thought they were just buff this whole time. I thought they were just thick. I thought they were just strong, they had good character and composition and just less gravity.
And the wide wings of aerial hunters cast their shadows across Darwin 4. The Von Braun has picked up a signal from the lost probe, Leo. Ike is sent on a mission to find his twin, but his search has barely begun when Ike encounters a pair of Darwin 4's greatest predators on this alien planet.
Kirby, bendy jet planes
would say life is a cosmic imperative. I personally believe, from all the observations that NASA has offered humanity for the last 50 years, suggests that the environments could be there. We now recognize potential habitats on Mars today that you could insert Earth life into and have it potentially be sustained. This is amazing. 25 years ago, we might not have said that. And then the question is, why don't we see it all around us? And I think that begs the bigger question, do we really know what we see all around us? We are just taking those baby steps into that cosmic ocean with a few elegant robots and a few human voyages. We've barely left the cradle.
We're barely out of that cradle. We just got
As
out of
Von
that
Braun
freaking
tries
cradle,
to get
guy.
a fix on
We don't know what
Leo,
we're
his
doing.
twin probe, Ike,
We don't
moves
know.
deeper into the foothills of
We don't
Darwin
know
4.
nothing. We don't know nothing. Part 2? Part 2?
Like groves of pine on Earth, the pocket forests
need to
of
disable
Darwin
that
4
fucking
are covered
thing
with
that says
colonies
not to
of
send me
passive
links.
organisms that feed on the moist, spongy floor. But in the air.
Wait, no!
Surveys 3 odd to the grove has come back online. The link between a deadly hunter.
Oh, okay. So it was ending.
Its prey, and the plaquebark tree suddenly unfolds. The Dark King of the Pocket Forest fills in the missing pieces of a predatory puzzle.
Of a predatory puzzle. It solves the part of a See a leaf?
Trunk
Oh!
suckers feed on the sap from gashes
I
made
missed
by
it.
climbing
Sorry.
diagnostics.
No leaves. Ah! And make sure no one can see me spiking. Hey, what are you
Ike's
looking
data
at?
confirms that daggerists
Get out of here, Leo!
extract the pre-digested material from the corpses of their prey. A gruesome but energy-efficient survival strategy on Darwin 4.
Ike, God.
The
I don't
weather
care.
on Darwin
You're a
4
balloon.
is puzzling. 130 days have passed since Ike began his survey, and never once
Yeah, that's
has
true.
it rained.
I am a balloon. Wish you wouldn't call me out like that.
As far as Ike's sensors can determine, Darwin's surface waters flow from underground aquifers and springs. That might
leaves.
explain why forests can only
Or, I mean,
exist in
grass.
small pockets. Ike takes
Suddenly
his survey
it doesn't
to a
look
high
alien
meadow,
at all.
where his side-scanning radar detects
It's like,
some
you
new
know what?
blips.
Let's just go back to the Earth shots. I'm getting tired of rendering these massive landscapes for no reason.
A sonar ping throws a herd of literalopes into a panic.
Literalopes.
Like the arrow tongue,
You will
these
literal
aerial
ops
killers
not
hunt
believe what
with
just
sonar.
happened to me. Starscream!
No creature on Darwin 4 is safe from the lance of the flying skewer.
Oh! Fuck!
The lance itself is hollow and as strong as titanium. Running through its center is a razor-spiked tongue that bores through the toughest hide.
Why?
Helpless prey are
No!
killed and drained of fluids. Scavengers, called jet darters, feed on the rest.
Really? So you're telling me, yeah, I know you do, Doke. So you're telling me right now that there's javelin planes, or spear planes, sorry, you throw javelins. I don't know what I was thinking. There's there's spear birds that look like 4-engine jet planes, and they fly around tossing a fucking for the fluids. They eat like this because of the fluids. You know, they're really not that different from mosquitoes. Ike's like, fuck that shit. I need that. I think there's another paper tag.
The skewers are a remarkable large animal for flight, in the fact that they're not using their wings or aerofoils in order to fly. They seem to be jet propulsed.
Using the skewer to impact a prey
They
item
seem
and
to
then
be
lift it
jet
is
propulsed.
highly unexpected. The forces involved there are tremendous. In a flying animal, if you suddenly attach all that weight on the front, that shifts the center of balance of the animal, which is very critical for flying, which is almost certainly why they almost go straight up after they impale a prey item, because the center of gravity, the center of weight for the animal is shifted so far forward. Dropping of the prey item and having another one swoop it and catch it in the air is, again, very unusual.
Kind of reminded me of what we see when we throw large hunks of fish up to frigate birds when you're out fishing, the way they fight and interact for it.
We'd want to know, is there competition here, or is this cooperative behavior? Are these related individuals? All sorts of interesting questions about skewers.
Next, a giant takes a step in the wrong direction, and Ike enters a deadly matrix. On Darwin,
Cool.
Probe Da Vinci attempts to get a fix on his crash site. Meanwhile, Ike, his twin,
Take a little quick break. I've been going for about 2.5 hours. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Boop. Oh, right, and we're back with more of these.
Discover size is no guarantee of survival on alien planet.
One piece of evidence that suggests the probability of primitive forms of life appearing may be reasonably high is that life seems to have appeared on Earth shortly after the Earth cooled sufficiently for life to be possible. If life was very unlikely, one might have expected life not to have appeared until late in the 10 billion years or so that the Earth has to live.
On Darwin 4, the mission encounters giant life forms and supersized animal organisms, all supported by a dense, humid atmosphere and a lower gravity than on Earth. Ruling the skies are falcon-like predators called skewers. Aerial life forms that travel and hunt in pairs. Skewers maneuver by changing the shape of their 50-foot wingspans.
And they're jet-powered.
Their wings that actually propel them.
Don't ask how it works.
Skewers create methane gas internally and combust it in 4 jet-like pods.
Whoa! Holy shit!
Literalopes defend themselves by scattering in all directions. Skewers are forced to choose only one target.
They beat the shit out of each other to do it. Wait. Excuse me?
Darwin's aerial predator is literally knocked from the sky. But by what?
Yeah. Oh, there's the fucking
High
dart
above the foothills of
things.
Darwin's equatorial mountain chain, Ike's sensors detect unusual bursts of energy. A swarm of scavengers called jet darters stray into a kill zone.
The electric mushrooms. This is what it's all about right here.
What looks like a colony of oversized mushrooms is a deadly maze. Ike's programmed to gather more data to learn how it works. The answer must lie within the organisms themselves. But Ike can't risk frying his circuit boards.
He's already too close. So the spider probe is fine.
The mini probe is the only expendable option.
Now Mike is going to get
look for the
fucking
power
wrecked.
source from below.
If Mike dies, we will only have Ike. You can't have Mike. Have Ike without Mike. Oh, thanks, man.
Acting like a light switch, the crawler has closed a fatal gap between 2 electric charges. Ike's sensors pick up a familiar signature.
They look over and it's like John Hancock's signature on a rock, and they're like, I've seen that before.
Just walking on Darwin 4 is a hazardous undertaking. Even a 5-story Groveback must watch its step.
Watch your step, Groveback. Fuck with me. Okay.
A colony of beach quills launch an assault on a careless
Oh!
Groveback.
Nope.
The quills penetrate deep into the creature's hide and deliver a fatal dose of neurotoxins.
Wiping out tons of them in the process.
The beach quills consume the Groveback alive.
I know. Space will still be there when you get back from the store. It's okay. And so will I.
Far from the killing field, another struggle continues in a remote corner of Darwin 4. Leo has no fix on his location. To find his position, he must launch a camera disc to clue in to his surroundings.
Thanks. We're gonna learn about space.
Leo's last transmission allows von Braun's supercomputers to plot his location. Ike is roughly 200 miles away from Leo as he continues his survey of the foothills. Badlands encrusted with ancient lava fields are covered with lichens and low vegetation.
I'm liking the sound of that.
Ike's sensors now lock on to higher life forms.
Ooh. Higher life forms. I bet they got some good shit.
Like alien ghosts, they seem to come from everywhere. But these nimble creatures all follow the same scent. On Earth, we have wolves.
Domestic ghosts are scary enough.
They're called prongheads.
One could look at the electrified plants. Here's this thing that looks like a plant, and yet it's zapping things out of the sky, and you sort of wonder, what is it doing with the things that it zaps? Is it simply frightening them off? Is it killing them?
Would I smoke Darwin 4 alien herbs?
So it gets back to the question.
Yeah, man, I'd eat those mushrooms too.
Animal? But the plant and animal distinction is one that's very peculiar to the way that humans look at life, because we live on the surface
I bet it
of
gives
Earth,
you
and
chills.
As it turns out, at this stage
and then they
of
start
the Earth's
multiplying.
history, there's
it's
only
electrifying.
two big lineages of living organisms in the land. The plants, they're green, they're photosynthetic. The animals, they run around, they eat things. And so we see that as a very important distinction. It shouldn't be a surprise.
You turn into
to us
Electro,
at all
you're just like
to find an organism in Darwin 4
fucking
anyplace
the Emperor.
else that combines aspects of what we might think are plant
Do it.
and animal.
Now, if we look at Darwin 4, we're going to look for evidence
Do it.
of both
Do it.
how these animals developed locomotive pathways, how they developed efficiency in locomotion, predator-prey interactions. If we look at the attack of the beach quills on the grove back, we come to the conclusion very quickly that this animal must have been subjected to a very toxic poison, perhaps similar to that produced by cone shells on Earth today, which is one of the most potent toxins we know of, where a cone shell can very quickly kill a large fish and then consume it.
One of the things we would want to know if that was going on is to go back and look at one of these places after the beach quills have killed
It never
the
gets any
growback
less heartbreaking.
to see what's happened next. Are they turning into the next stage of their life? So there's a lot we want to know to be able to sort out all these possibilities.
Next, in his search for Leo, Ike must now cross a blue sea with a dark secret.
This is Antipodean Squid's territory.
Ike finds the weather on Darwin
I don't do
4
the sea.
is as dangerous as the planet's predatory
Don't look
life
at 'em.
forms.
Life forms, when we go to another planet and looking for life forms, I think the first thing we need to do is have a definition of what a life form
Well,
is.
yeah, that guy looks brutal there.
We certainly have a definition, or we have a number of definitions of what people would like to think life forms are based on Earth, based on
That's
what
a
we
big
have
nope
here
for
on
me
Earth.
there, guy.
There may be life
Nope.
forms
Nope on snail.
composed
no, thank
of
you.
many other
Bye-bye.
molecules that don't exist here on Earth, but before we can actually call something a life form, we have to have a definition as to what it is.
What is life? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more. Little friends. Hey, friends. Don't let those little jet guys get you. Or the big ones. Are there more than two jet
Gyrosprinters
creatures?
are fast and evasive creatures.
It's the flesh motorcycle.
But prongheads know how to run interception.
Okay.
Like pack predators on Earth, not every hunt ends in success. But the discovery of cooperative hunting is a major breakthrough. The inhabitants of Darwin 4 are more evolved than anticipated. Artificial intelligence computers on the von Braun have decided to do something about Leo. As a result, the protocols that control Ike's behavior are reprioritized. Ike is ordered to break off his survey immediately.
Unsettling.
He's now instructed to assume greater risks. His mission now is to find Leo. The journey will take him across a vast, unexplored region of...
Why would you decide to take bigger risks? I mean, I know it's like, it's a story. You know, it's about these... None of this is real. Like, this is like if an alien planet had the absolute best case scenario, where it's got like stuff with like legs and that can develop biologically jet engines. Like there's there are creatures in the world with like there's like one creature that has like what you might call a wheel biologically. I'd have to look at into that again. I remember I saw it in an article and I just clicked on it and read about it. But there's mechanical things that don't happen in nature. Like you can't have jets. You know, you can move so fast that you boil water around you. A shrimp does that shit. Like, but that's just going really fast. This is not just going really fast. This is going really fast by like pumping air like in through cones and out through funnels with your body. Cephalopods have water jets. Okay, but they're smaller and they're in water. These have to fight gravity. They also are the size of planes. Like the gravity's lighter, but also they're the size of planes. So if the gravity is that much lighter, then they're doing the same amount of resistance against gravity as a bird probably. You know, like I'm sure it's like roughly to scale if they're that much bigger. So like, yeah, we all know it's bullshit, but I don't know. I just want to talk about why it's bullshit.
Darwin 4. Based on data from the reconnaissance across a vast, unexplored region.
What's bullshit?
Of Darwin 4.
Darwin 4.
Based on data from the reconnaissance orbiter, Darwin's oceans evaporated millions of years ago.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing that people thought it was real.
A dense, oxygen-rich blanket.
Adults, like grown-ups, did. That blows my mind. They probably still don't know it wasn't.
When the oceans
they
vanished,
died believing
they
this was the truth,
a badland
and that they had done
spires.
this. They'd probably hear people saying, "Oh man, it would just be so cool if we could just get our hands on some alien life." And they were like, "What are you talking about? Don't you know about Darwin 4? The real planet that we sent Mike, Ike, and Leo to?" And they're like, "The fuck are you talking about, dude?"
Over the eons, some have grown a mile high.
Like their bodies cease to function with that knowledge in their brain. Their ghost probably thinks that Mike, Ike, and Leo are real.
The spires are the accumulated remains of billions of tons of ocean salts and minerals.
Yeah, flat earthers. Yeah, flat earthers would see some shit like this, already believing that for some reason the Earth is a disc shape and other planets are spheroid, and they'd be like, "Yep, that tracks."
Ike identifies a new object of interest.
Dirt bike tracks. No? Okay.
Like nothing yet seen on Darwin 4. The curved formations don't mesh with the environment.
Oh, I was right.
Perhaps they were made by some creature yet to be discovered. While Darwin lost its oceans, it still maintains a sea roughly the size of Texas.
See you soon. Love you, bye. Can you give me chips, please? I will text you and let you know. I don't know what kind I want. Thank you.
But what looked like water from space...
What kind of chips should I get?
...doesn't hold up.
You're the authority in my life while we're doing this.
The water's edge looks like a thick sheet of gelatin, surrounded by great spires of salt.
I've had barbecue twice recently, so you
I
can't say barbecue.
Penetrate the surface.
Tortilla chips? Ooh.
It's like a waterbed teeming with life.
Okay, tortilla chips. I'm gonna get... I want the, yeah, what are the ones they have at HEB? They're, the guacamole flavored tortilla chips.
What looks like a sea is actually a vast colony, a matrix of symbiotic life forms. They evolved
the green
as the
ones.
oceans evaporated,
Fuck yeah, dude.
trapping seawater within their transparent membranes.
HEB is the best!
The Von Braun has calculated that crossing the Amoebic Sea is the quickest way to reach the site of Leo's last transmission.
Yeah, dude. Have you already moved back to the States? I think you said you were going to university in
Ike spots a radical change
Minnesota
in the surface texture.
Georgia. Right. But no HEB in Georgia. Do they have Whataburger at least? Oh,
the
fuck!
Amoebic Sea suddenly behaves like a gigantic predator that preys on low-flying game.
Oh, man. That's fucking cool.
The Darwin Reconnaissance Orbiter issues a sudden storm.
Jelly planet? Jelly ocean? Aggressive jelly ocean.
A wall of debris is closing in at high speed. Ike's one chance to survive may already be out of reach.
They're gonna be like, this pressure system is caused by the jelly ocean.
Around the Amoebic Sea are salt sand dunes, which are the remnants of the ocean that once covered Darwin 4. As that ocean receded, what happened was extremely ingenious. The life in that ocean developed its own seal to protect the loss of the last piece of the ocean. And that life-covered remnant of the ocean is what is the Amoebic Sea. Darwin 4 is a planet that doesn't have a lot of water. Whereas here on the Earth, we have a lot of water vapor available to drive storms. And the water has a special property of being able to store and release energy. So that's how we drive the storms on the Earth. On Darwin 4, though, with little water, you end up instead with storms being driven by temperature differences. So those incredible storms we see over the Amoebic Sea are driven by differences in temperature that occur between differences in absorption of sunlight between the salt dunes and the darkness of the sea.
The behavior we see with the prongheads is very reminiscent of what we see with a wolf pack, in that you have animals flanking out in different areas, going very slow.
Oh no, wait, they're green hatch chili. Those are the. That's what flavor it is.
The prey into one spot where
that's
they can
even
finish
better.
It off. It is very suggestive of a coordinated hunting strategy. In terms of pack hunting, there needs to be greater intelligence to coordinate pack hunting behavior such as we see in wolves, or we predict might have happened among the dromaeosaurs or raptor dinosaurs. You have to have a fairly large brain capacity. However, these are still instinctive behaviors in these organisms.
After all is said and done, I would hope that when we discover life in outer space, what we take with us is the fact that life is precious. Life is so precious. It took billions of years of a complex series of accidents.
I mean, I figure he's saying life is precious from like a mathematical standpoint, like it's rare. But I think that's misguiding people who are like interested in science but believe that life has intrinsic value. And life is cool and stuff, and this is totally a take I'm taking from actual Jake that I've heard him. I believe the same thing, but he said this recently. He's like, life is neat and everything, but it doesn't have intrinsic value. Life has value because we say it has value. Other higher life forms may not, or just higher life forms may not believe that we're all that great, you know? Not valuable at all. Not even interesting.
To create life on the planet Earth. We have great oceans, liquid water oceans, perhaps the most precious substance in the universe, liquid water. And what do we do with it? We pollute it. We dump all our garbage in the liquid oceans. So I would hope that we come away with our understanding, realizing how precious it is that we exist, how precious it is that life can form and grow, and that we have to protect it.
A perfect storm strikes Darwin 4, and Ike meets the awesome monarchs of the amoebic sea next.
Oh, it's
the largest denizens of Darwin 4
Kyogre. No.
Alien planet.
Single cell life is the
feeling's
key
primitive,
event
yeah.
in evolution, in my view. There certainly wouldn't be any macro life on Darwin or any other planet if it didn't start with single cell life. So if we didn't start with microorganisms, single cells that eventually worked in colonies and then worked out to form networks, eventually multicellular organisms, there would be no larger life that would be visible to the eye. There's a commonality of life that we build from these same building blocks. We put great emphasis, because of our visual acuity, on how things look and if they look different or not. We put much more significance on that than if they have radically different metabolism.
I still don't know where I am. Oh shit, it's a rock that I'm heading the opposite direction from.
Caustic minerals.
Caustic minerals? Convenient you got those. I'm sure that was just foresight.
Ike could have run from the storm by rising above it.
Yeah. He's gonna do this instead.
But his new directive is to assume greater risk in the search for Leo. Crossing the amoebic sea is the shortest path.
Oh, so now they're concerned about efficiency.
Ike's sensors detect a huge disturbance. But it's not the storm. It's the biggest life form ever encountered, anywhere. The sea strider is 7 stories tall.
video game character. Come
now
on.
Ike detects more movement.
Okay, they're running out of ideas.
The flyers seem to orbit the Strider, attracted to an energy source just beneath its mouthless head. The Striders are not just walking on the surface. They're taking chunks of it along with them.
What?
The storm ends as suddenly as it began. The Striders are heading the same direction Ike must take to reach Leo. So Ike will tag along and gather data on the alien giants. Astrobiologists could find that the Striders eat from mouths at the bottom of their giant feet, trudging back and forth across the sea on a movable feast.
Oh god, is he gonna fire a laser at him? Ike, get out of there!
Something's disturbed the Striders, but quickly vanishes from Ike's sensors.
Oh, it's one of those.
The flyers are nymph-like young of the sea striders.
Really? Are they?
They have a relationship to the sea as well.
Yeah, the sea eats them.
The far shore is finally in sight. Here, the peaceful giants of Darwin 4 make a U-turn.
He's got these big knife butts.
Based on Leo's transmissions to the Von Braun, Ike will follow his trail like a robotic bloodhound.
Those little flying things get 7 stories tall.
Within hours, Ike nears one of
Darwin
Leo's
4.
last reported locations. The Unth herd hasn't strayed far from where Leo first encountered them.
How long ago was that? What's up, Ike?
An adult makes ruts in the ground. Perhaps the patterns found by the spires were created by a herd like this one.
Probably not.
Ike spots a metallic glint that could only come from Leo.
Nope, it's a UFO alien.
Immense size and extreme height suggests that these animals are less dense than the animals we're familiar with on Earth. To carry such an immense weight around on 2 legs, immense volume.
Yeah, the legs must be empty. They must be full of air. It's almost like it has big old fucking ballast tanks on its legs.
Mechanically impossible.
One of the other things that's kind of surprising, we're seeing these in a storm. They're very large organisms. How do they keep from being blown over, especially if they're light enough that they don't sink to the bottom of the sea? So there's a lot of things about the sea strider we'd like to know more about.
The science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke said that there either is or is not intelligent life in outer space. However, either thought is frightening. However, I tend to look at it as exhilarating. I tend to believe that when we make contact with another intelligent life form, we will perhaps have a tremendous bonanza of scientific information, so much cultural exchange that will be involved. As a scientist, I look forward to the day when we make contact with other intelligent life forms in the
And then
universe.
we can appropriate
So rather than being
cultures from
frightened,
other planets.
I think we'd approach the idea with open arms, with
We're already
open
getting
mind,
started with science
realizing
fiction.
that this could be a turning point in the history of the human race.
A clue to Leo's disappearance reveals evidence of an alien intelligence on Darwin 4. Next. On an alien planet, Ike discovers clues to Leo's disappearance, and he's caught in the sights of a skewer.
Our first forays beyond the solar system to the nearest nearby planets will be robotic. They ought to be robotic. It makes sense. And we will be the bystanders, much more so than we are today with our robotic emissaries. But that's okay, because it's my belief that as we do that, we will have trained ourselves for those smart machines to act more like us. Not to be us, they never will. But they'll act more like us in the sense that they'll
never be
observe,
like us.
mine the data, understand the anomalies, the excitement, find the sweet spots, and tell us that at the limits of the speed of physics, the speed of light. And as they go, they'll open the doors in our eyes to how we may go.
It's not the camera disc that stumps Ike's computer. It's what lays around it.
The mouth. Those are teeth.
Ike is unable to determine if something actually built this site.
Oh no.
Ike detects motion as he heads for Leo's final transmission point.
Thank you.
The Bladderhorn still defends the same piece of turf.
Oi. Oi.
But Leo's nowhere in sight. There's no place to run and no time to hide from Darwin's deadliest predator. The probe is not equipped to evade predators like the skewer.
Just roll on your side and fire when... Oh, okay. That keeps happening right at the perfect time.
But that's not a problem now.
Nope. No more. You alright? Yeah. Thanks.
Ike's sensors pick up a new life form. And he follows the signal.
Follow that Siggy.
The skewer has disappeared. The trail ends at the base of a steep mountain face. Or does it? Whatever killed the skewer has managed to lift all 50 feet of it up a sheer cliff. Ike senses no movement, no transmissions coming from his twin probe, Leo.
Hey, Unusual Tactics, thanks for gifting a sub, man. You're awesome. I love you. We got 8. We got 9 subscribers.
All around him.
Ah! We need 6 more and we can get another tier 1 and a tier 2 emote. Ah! Thanks, man.
Suddenly, movement is detected from Leo's direction.
Seeing life itself on another planet would be the most breathtaking emotional charge that a scientist could ever possibly have.
Life on Earth could have turned out very,
Jalen's
very
at the
different,
store, so I'm sure
for
that they'll be back
specific
soon and they'll say
that
thank you.
We're sort of random in nature. Probably the best known of which was the asteroid that hit the Earth at the end of the Cretaceous period, caused the extinction of all the large dinosaurs. Without that single event, the organisms that survived to the present day would have been very, very different from the ones that we see. And so to the extent that in a planet like Darwin 4, we find things that resemble organisms on Earth, that's astonishing to us because it tells us that there's something more than the luck of the draw. There's some reason they look that way, they just didn't turn out that way.
I think just knowing we're not alone, even at the cellular level, will change our view.
Why did it show more than one? Why did it just show one?
Our own neighborhood and on beyond the universe. But then the question will be, well, how are we related to that? Are we all the same stuff? I mean, Sagan said so well, we're all made of star stuff, and we are.
Ike is about to make contact with humanity's greatest discovery. Next.
We showed a bunch for you? Okay, cool.
On the alien planet, Ike attempts to communicate with life forms that
like,
seem
did it show them on the screen? Like on the stream or just in the chat?
It has tentacles by which it can manipulate the environment, but it has no culture. It cannot transmit information from generation to generation. But if you could breed the octopus for millions of years, perhaps you could breed octopus with the capability of speech, the capability of handing down information, and perhaps even another race of intelligent beings on the planet Earth. So the bottom line is, why should an alien life form look just like us?
Yes, there we go. Okay.
This alien could have easily destroyed the probe. Instead, it waits for Ike to make the next move.
Why didn't it?
When Ike projects numeric symbols, the alien seems ready to respond.
Well, I'm only doing one now. Okay. What the hell, man?
Part 1 is a test to determine if this alien creature can conceptualize and is therefore intelligent. Ike flashes 3 symbols. The alien responds correctly with 4 flashes. This response triggers Ike to deliver the rest of the message. When a third creature closes in, Ike launches a camera disc to assess the threat.
Oh, this guy.
160 days into the Darwin 4 mission.
Okay, yeah, it's back.
The last recorded image of Ike and Leo is sent to the von Braun.
Yay! Okay, cool.
Computers play and replay the data for the next 72 hours. But interpretation of this profound event is beyond the scope of its artificial intelligence software.
Yes.
To evaluate the full significance of our first extraterrestrial contact requires human intelligence. After decades of research, the pieces begin to fall together.
Yeah.
Scientists call the creatures Eosapiens, life forms with intelligence possibly similar to that of early man.
Ike.
Eosapiens appear to be highly mobile and airborne. They navigate with organic thrusters and a large, delicate bag of methane for lift.
Thrusters, huh?
The Eosapiens may see the camera disc launched by the probes as threats. This misunderstanding may have triggered the destruction of Leo. As the simulated mission to this alien planet ends, the questions it raises are as immense as the universe. Will we ever find life beyond our planet? What must we do to reach it? And how can we prepare ourselves psychologically to deal with the discovery of alien life forms?
Finding life beyond Earth, it really is just going to be a matter of persistence. We'll probably have to send a lot of probes.
I mean, we're just beginning. You know, the world and the universe is about to open up to you.
The guy was just like,
you know, we're just slowly waking up
we're gonna
out of our cave, for God's sake.
Have to send a lot of probes. Sorry, I'm supposed to do this like it's real? Fuck, alright.
This is the best time. In the next, 200,000 or 300,000 years will be fantastic. It'll be great to be alive.
I think discovering life on another planet might be one of the most fantastic things for humans.
If we want to find advanced intelligent life, our best bet is to listen for radio signals, like the SETI project. Interstellar distances are too large for us to travel to more than the closest stars. If we want to explore the galaxy, so we'd better send robots, but we may not live long enough to hear back from them.
If we find life on another planet, we're going to, first of all, know that we're not the center of the universe anymore.
I think it's important that we understand our
We're not the center of the friggin' universe anymore, you guys.
It's terribly important.
Did you know?
In so doing, we come full circle to respect the world that we're on and to understand the distances and what the universe is all about.
We will know that if the conditions for life are present, then life can arise at multiple sites in the universe, and that we now live in a living universe that we're ready to explore.
I think the revolution that science is giving us as we look at our solar system and the accessible universe will continue to unfold. When we get the next generation telescopes up there, we will not only see indirect evidence of other Earths, but we'll see the earlier time of the universe and have better abilities to understand how the universe, the galaxies that populated came to be. You have seen nothing yet, because it's only going to get better. And that zone, that gap between science fiction and science fact is just going to come together. And, I've never met a science fact that couldn't be seen as interesting as some of the best of science fiction. And I think we're going to see that zone blurring together as we continue the quest for life.
Thomas Huxley, the great biologist in the last century, said that perhaps one of the noblest achievements of science and philosophy is to discover our true role in the universe. Who are we? Where do we fit in the larger scheme of things? That, he thought, was the central question unifying philosophy, science, and art. And today, I think we may be able to answer that question, because we are on the verge of perhaps the greatest breakthrough in the history of
Yes,
science.
I'm in my
and
first
that is the discovery
evolution
of other
into my
life
second
forms in
form.
space.
This is my Darwin 4 form. So, the adventure to Darwin 4 is over. It hurt to do. That was... I want to do more stuff like this, actually. I really want to see things where they present, like, science fantasy, or... what is it called? Like, basically, like Xeno creature fantasy or something, like where it's basically the field of drawing what aliens or alternate like history dinosaurs or future creatures on Earth look like. Those kinds of concept like artistry fields, you know, but like someone took that, and I want to see the stuff that it got made like it was real. You know, if anyone could find me more of that stuff, I'd be down to watch it. It'd be pretty cool. Everything everything else I have now feels way too serious. I'm just like, I already came here to tell jokes, but that shit, I mean, most of the jokes told themselves.